Hi, so I've been asked to provide a testimony of something that God has done in my life. So I'm going to give you a testimony that happened about 17 years ago. My grandmother died, and I decided when we were going to the funeral that I would take my 3 children with me. It'd be their first ever funeral. And because it's in Scotland, I thought I'd make a holiday out of it to give them a positive slant on the whole reason for us being up there. So that's what I set out to do. Now, I haven't really driven any further than Bournemouth because I'm a very nervous driver, and heavy motorway traffic absolutely terrifies me. So the thought of travelling to Scotland on my own with my 3 children was almost beyond my capabilities. But after much prayer, I decided I would do this. And yes, I travelled all the way up to Scotland with the 3 children, all the way up to Edinburgh. But not only that, I did a daily commute from Edinburgh to Glasgow, and from Glasgow to Barhead. And also, I drove around the Highlands post-funeral to give the children a holiday and see all the wonderful sights. By the time we got back, I worked it out to be well over 1,000 miles that I had driven, and this is absolutely no mean feat, especially given that we were being navigated by my then 11-year-old daughter Emily. The real testimony comes on the journey home. Now, I'd inadvertently left my map in my parents' car, and I pulled over at our services. I was slightly in front of my parents. I was leaving from Edinburgh and they were leaving from Glasgow. And I pulled over at services I knew that they would be passing, and asked if they could do almost like a drive-by, throw the map out the window type situation. But my dad, once he leaves on a journey, he doesn't like stopping at all, so he refused to do that, which left me and the 3 children to navigate all the way home. And at this point we were in Hamilton, which is just outside Glasgow. Left us to drive all the way home, purely relying on God's grace, but also with a general idea of where we were wanting to end up, basically. Now, on the long journey home, I did notice that my steering wheel had developed a vibration, a judder at speed, and that generally means that the car tyres have become unbalanced. So it didn't worry me particularly, and I did have a very heavy car crammed to the roof with all sorts of things that you could think of, including all the lovely goodies we brought back from Scotland. But anyway, further on in the journey, the vibration was getting worse and worse, and I also noticed that the car was veering over to the left, I think, but it was veering when I was braking. But again, I just put this down to the heavy weight of the car and the lack of balanced wheels. We got home safely, and a day or so later I took the car to a garage to get the wheel sorted. And the mechanic actually came and got me, looking very shocked, and showed me the tyre. It wasn't unbalanced. What had happened, it had completely shredded along a huge wall, and so much so that the wire mesh was clearly visible, and there wasn't much mesh left on the tyre before the tyre was going to blow. Now, the mechanic said the tyre should have blown well before now, and given the fact that I had just driven back from Scotland, he said it should have blown on the motorway, and when it had, we would not have stood a chance of surviving the ensuing accident. So that's my testimony really, of God's grace and His protection over me and my then young children. Thanks.